The week that I was there, I was sharing a house with my ex-boyfriend. I'm back in the Netherlands. This was honestly the quickest move I've ever had. I was literally away for 8 days. I unfortunately had to return home due to various reasons, which are also pretty personal. I did end up doing some work in Portugal. I worked in their restaurant. And I did some things in TripAdvisor and Room Raccoon, so I learned some new things in the 8 days that I was gone, but I just had to go home. I'm currently in my old bedroom, my childhood bedroom, which is very empty. They even took off my childhood name off the door. Like, look at this. This used to say Romee, but they took it off. So I'm in my childhood bedroom because I have a friend who is staying in my apartment. She's like vacationing there a little. At first I didn't want to tell her that I returned home because I just wanted to, you know, let her stay in my apartment and have herself some time there and just enjoy it without, you know, being kicked out after 8 days. But she found out that I was back in the Netherlands because I posted it on my Instagram story, which is so stupid. So she texted me like, hey, I really understand if you want to go home to your apartment. I was like, don't worry about it. Just stay there as long as, you know, it's possible. My parents are on vacation right now, so I am free to stay here in their house. My little brother is here too, so I've been living with my little brother again. But I'm packing my bag to go and stay with a friend for a few days. You know, change of scenery again. I switched beds a lot of times the past 2 weeks now, but that's okay. It's just that my head is so full and I have so many things to do. Because my plans in Portugal just disappeared, I now have to fill in those weeks here in the Netherlands, and I just have to arrange so much. My head is just so full, and you know, I had to go home due to unfortunate reasons. So I've just been really meh. So I thought that staying in a friend's place was going to cheer me up because this house is so big. My little brother, you know, has to work. He has his own friends, so he's not gonna like babysit his big sister. So I'm going to a little village somewhere in the Netherlands. Just, you know, work on everything, work on myself, get everything back on track. I have an hour drive ahead of me, which is fine. I love to drive. I love to drive. Because when I drive, I can just be, you know, with myself and with my own thoughts. Process things. Does anybody else feel that way when they drive? It's funny because in the Netherlands, the drives aren't that long because the country is pretty small. From left to right, if you drive 2 hours, you are from one border to the other border. And one border is the sea, and the other border is Germany. If you go from north to south, I think it's 3 to 4 hours of a drive. So it's not the biggest country to drive in. I feel like when you drive 2 hours in like California, you're not even out of the state yet. You can drive from Los Angeles to San Diego in 2 hours, I think. So it's always funny to me that a long drive to me is considered an hour. Also, my car is completely falling apart. We need to duct tape that because if it goes lower, it goes in front of my mirror and I won't be able to see anything. So we need to arrange that. I always have duct tape in my car. Ever since somebody drove into my car, I left it like that and my bumper was like hanging loose. This is not pretty, but I have to get to the auto repair shop anyway, so. And my auto repair shop is actually from my uncle's. So when I go to the auto repair shop, you can probably fix this for me too. I don't think this is gonna stick. It will have to do. I don't think it's gonna stick. We'll see. I also have this pillow for my back. I think it's been really nice. A friend of mine recommended it for another friend of mine, but then I was like, I could use one too. So I now drive around with this car pillow to stabilize my back when I'm sitting in the car. It's definitely not gonna stick. Did I forget something? Yes, I did. I actually forgot a few things. I have it all now. So the reason I had to leave Portugal is because I wasn't in the right headspace. The first few days it actually went fine, and there was nothing going on. The more days I was there, I could tell that mentally I wasn't handling it, and I just felt so alone in a house I wasn't alone in. If you don't feel comfortable in an environment you want to feel comfortable in, it is absolutely okay to realize that that's not it for you, and you can go home. You have a choice. You know, you don't have to be ashamed for the decisions that you make. If it doesn't make you happy, leave. And it wasn't making me happy at all, which is very unfortunate because I was looking forward to it. As I was there, it just wasn't what I pictured. So it was good for me to go. And I'm not gonna go into detail as to what happened or the exact whys as to why I actually decided to go home, but I am not ashamed for my choice. I'm not disappointed in myself that I couldn't handle it longer than just a week. I am proud of myself for making the decision to go home, actually. So I'm proud about all of that. It's just that a lot of things just happened that I'm never going to forget, but I do have to process it all. So I returned home. Now, little fun fact, the week that I was there, I was sharing a house with my ex-boyfriend. He went home with me, or like he took the same flight as me home, due to also various circumstances. So we both flew home on a Monday, and we had an afternoon flight. I think our flight went at around like 1:10 p.m., which is a very decent time, like very nice. Our taxi driver was going to pick us up at 10 a.m. and we were at the airport at 11 a.m. So when we got to the airport, it was extremely busy, which I feel like every country in Europe is dealing with that right now, with like overcrowded airports and flights being delayed and everything, or even like canceled. We go through security, which was a very long line, and then we head to the gate, and there's this woman that comes over to us, and she tells my ex-boyfriend that he has too big of a bag as a carry-on bag, which it wasn't too big at all, but they made us pay $50. And he didn't have a credit card, so I paid with my credit card. And well, luckily we were put in like the priority lane after that, because we had to, you know, get that bag to one of the marshals. It took forever to board the plane, and I feel so sorry for those who were not in the priority lane because it just took so long. And then when we were on the plane, we also had a 30-minute delay, which is fine, like absolutely fine. Happens to the best of us. So the flight was fine. Landing was a little rough because it was rainy and stormy in the Netherlands as we landed, so I felt a little uncomfortable with the landing, but the pilot managed great, so we landed. So the plane parked at the gate that we had to be at, and as people were standing up to grab their bags, the pilot told the plane that we had to wait a little because there was something going on. So we weren't allowed to exit the plane. And then about 5 minutes later, we hear the pilot wanting to make an announcement again. And he just let out this little chuckle, but like this awkward chuckle that let us know that what he was about to tell us wasn't pretty news. He felt really uncomfortable telling us the news, and I actually felt really bad for the pilot having to give us that news. So he let out this chuckle, and then he was like, due to understaffing at Eindhoven Airport, we cannot exit the plane because there's no staff to guide us out of the plane. We are the 5th airplane waiting to be released, so this is going to take at least an hour. And everybody's faces, everybody was so annoyed because it was, one, extremely hot on that plane, and two, we already had delays that day. So our trip wasn't going smoothly, so we weren't allowed to exit the plane. And mind you, I was already in a terrible headspace and I wasn't having this delay, but you know, there's nothing that they can do about it, so we just had to deal with it. So eventually we were allowed out of the plane, and then we had to go to baggage claim, and there were so many people there. And the person who was picking us up from the airport, he sent us a picture and he was like, well, funny story, it is actually so empty here on the other side of the airport. And then I sent him a picture back and I was like, well, of course, because everybody's literally here at baggage claim. And as soon as the first belt started, people started screaming and like clapping, and they were like so excited that they got their baggage. And I was like, how long have those people been standing there waiting for their bags? If they have been standing there for such a long time, how long are we going to wait? Luckily, it wasn't too bad. Luckily, it was fine. But still, I was like, oh gosh, let me just go home. I just want to go home. And then we finally were able to leave the airport. We got some Starbucks. I got a quick burger from McDonald's. Well, they call it fast food. At that time, it wasn't fast food because it was also so crowded there. And I only had like the most simple burger and fries, but it was so crowded. I felt so sorry for the McDonald's employees. We dropped off my ex-boyfriend in Amsterdam, and then I went to my parents' hometown, and there was actually a party going on in that hometown, and a friend of mine, Thijs, he had called me if I wanted to join, and I was like, sure, I'll join. So I ordered Chinese and sushi, picked up the Chinese and sushi, which was next to place as where Thijs was at, and then I just enjoyed the party. And I think I was in bed at around 2 a.m. But I made it. And I'm feeling much better, and I'm really happy that I went home. And now it's just time to focus on myself. I made it. Unfortunately, there was no Starbucks on the way, so there were no stops, but that's absolutely fine. I see my friend, but I'm still vlogging, so. Ik ben aan het vloggen. Doei. So yeah, what have we learned from this video? that you should do whatever makes you feel happy, and that you shouldn't worry about other people's opinions, and that every little thing is gonna be alright, because I'm sitting here now, and you should know that it doesn't matter if things don't work out the way you wanted it to. And sometimes things just happen for a reason, so I'm gonna go inside because they know I'm here. Don't forget to subscribe and turn your notification bell on so you know whenever there is a new video. And yeah, I will see you guys next video. And again, I will be alright. You will be too. No matter what you're going through, you'll be alright. Okay. See you guys. Bye.